My name is Tristram Hokenson. I am the sole owner, operator, manager, everything of Rockin H. I call it Rockin H Horses and Training, or Rockin H Ranch. And then I also run TH Engineering, which is a newly formed engineering consulting firm that I'm a little over a year old now, but so still fairly new, haven't done a whole lot with it. My Rockin H came from when I was little. My grandpa passed away when I was about 7, and I remember being out in the horse field with him. He raised saddlebreds, and he trained and he showed saddlebreds, and I loved being out there, and I'd run through the legs of all the horses and everything, and he always used Rockin H horses, Rockin H horse saddlebreds. And so that's always been like my dream, was to like make something, especially after he passed away, because he passed away when I was 7. So having been able to create that name, and so that's my brand that I put on all my horses now, that I'm super proud of. I grew up in Michigan, and then I went to college at Michigan Tech. I went for my civil engineering degree. I am licensed in 13 states, I believe, including Alaska and California. So those are my 2 proud ones, because those ones were a little tougher. And then I graduated from college. I went and worked for Bechtel. I did 2 or 3 internships with them in Washington State. So I worked on the Hanford site, worked on their nuclear site that's out there. I also did internships with the Department of Transportation. While I was working for Bechtel, I transferred down to their sister site at Y12 in Tennessee. I worked there for a little while, and then I went and worked for a breeder up in Canada. So I lived in Canada for a while, fell in love with some of the horses that he had, ended up buying a full brother to one of his stallions, so that's my stallion today that I stand for my business. And then I got a job with the telecom company, and so I was the only engineer within 500 miles of here, I think, and I worked remotely for them. And I think I had like 14 different project managers that I supported, roughly. And then during one of the downturns, or one of our economic downturns, I got let go, and so I already had my horse business going, so I full on dove into that, started breeding a lot more, started taking a lot more training horses, training my own, selling those, and just giving lessons. And so I've spent the last couple years mostly doing that. I decided that I wanted to get back more into engineering, and so I started my own consulting firm, which is TH Engineering, and I've dabbled in that a little bit. I've been calling, trying to get leads, and sometimes years are harder than others, and putting your name out there. So I've just been calling, and I've done a little bit of residential projects, but hopefully I'll get back into dirt work and document reviews, and just anything that I can put my hands on. So that kind of puts me where I am today. With my little consulting firm, so I named it TH Engineering for Tristram Hokenson, naturally. I mostly have done a little bit of residential. I focused a lot on dirt work while I was working for the bigger consulting firms and the bigger engineering firms. So I'd like to get back into that some more. But I've worked on like just some basic concrete pads, a little bit of like residential homes, site layouts, just small projects. A lot of them tend to be actually in California, just because there's such a high demand for work, and I worked my butt off to get licensed there, so I try to use it. I worked for a telecom company for a little while, for I think close to 5 years, and I ended up getting let go. Just telecom, it's just up and down always. And so I didn't make one of the cuts. But when I got let go, I was like, I'm gonna try working for myself. And so I put in time, like I built up clients, and I did that with the horse business. And so now that I've got that a little bit stabilized, I've got it pretty stabilized, I figure I might as well, like, I miss engineering. I love it. That's why I went to school for it. That's why I did it. And so I'm really excited to dive back in more into that. My family has always just pushed me to just be independent and do better, and kind of do some really just, do better things, do bigger things. I like the freedom of working for myself, and I like the flexibility that I have, and I can kind of pick what work I want to do, and I can set my own hours. I can just, I can work as hard as I want to, which is probably my pitfall. When I first started out, like I had the opportunity to like kind of lead a couple little projects, and I think the hardest things was working with some of the older construction guys. One, they tend to look down on you know, some of those who are younger than them, because you know they know a lot, and then they look at me and they're like, you just have a clipboard, like you don't know anything. And then being a woman, some of them tend to kind of frown upon that a little bit. So it was a little bit challenging to have to work with a few of them. But I think that kind of proving to them day in and day out that, like, you know, I'm just as capable and I can do the job too. It just it helped me win them over. I think you just gotta dive in and just put your foot forward. And there's so many, especially now, I mean, diversity incentives, which I don't think we want to just, you know, diversity hire. But at the same time, there's a lot of opportunities. And I mean, I think over and over, like, we've kind of proven that, you know, we can work in the workforce along with anybody else. Well, I am my team. Actually, I think you saw the rest of my team running around like crazy balloons earlier. All my dogs. I think it's a way to celebrate just how women have grown in the industry and how we have a little bit different perspective and a different voice. I think all of those excite me, everything that we just talked about. And then just the new technologies. I mean, there's so much. I feel a little bit out of the loop because I haven't dove in quite as much the last few years. So I'm excited to learn about what advancements have come, and the little bit that I do follow, it's exciting to see how we can make things more efficient, we can make things stronger, we can make it, you know, more economical, and just keep making it better.